Well, a very warm welcome to Cagliari for semi-finals day here at the Sardegna Open. And bang on cue at midday local time, the bells are starting to chime, and which of these two players, I wonder, will be celebrating at the end of this match. We have our numbers 2 and 3 seeds here. Taylor Fritz, seeded 2, US number 1, up against Lorenzo Sonego, the number 3 seed from Italy. In fact, 3 of our top 4 seeds have made it through to the last 4. Lucy Arle and Chris Dennis with you for the 2 semi-finals today. Lucy, great to have you with us as always. Well, it's gone to seed, hasn't it, in the bottom half of the draw?
It has, and I mean, there's been some good matches, hasn't there? And it's always interesting in some of the players. First time that they've been on the clay, certainly case for Taylor Fritz, and he's done well to get through to this stage. I thought he played a good match against Bedene yesterday. Sonego as well, didn't he do well to come back against Hanfmann? So this is certainly going to be an intriguing one between the two.
Umpiring the chair for the first semi-final will be El-Jannati, Mohamed El-Jannati from Morocco. A reminder of the COVID protocols, which towels to pick up. Sonego wins the toss and opts to receive on a slightly cooler day today. Overcast, we've had plenty of sunshine, but the big factor, of course, this week has been all about the wind, which has been blowing and causing players all sorts of problems. There you can see the heaviest cloud cover of the week so far. And there is the church, sitting right next to the Cagliari Tennis Club here. It's a wonderful setting. And let's remind ourselves of where we are in the draw. So bottom half, Sonego against Fritz, our first semi-final. Seeds 3 and 2 respectively taking on each other. And then after that, there'll be a short break, potentially, not before 1:30 local time. Nicolas Basilashvili coming through as the number 4 seed, and he'll take on Laszlo Djere, who has got fond memories, of course, of playing in Sardinia. Won a different tournament, but just down the road at the Fort Village Club back in October. So he's looking to reach his second final in as many years. So Lorenzo Sonego then, 25 years old, Italian number 4, and one of 10 Italians in the top 100. And his star, Lucy, just keeps getting brighter and brighter.
It does. He's made good progress, hasn't he? And I mean, he's a player that, I mean, he's spent a lot of time obviously on the clay, but he's had success on all surfaces. And a title in Antalya that was on the grass. And for me, he's exciting to watch. He's got a big forehand. He's got a fast arm. He'll be looking to dictate with the forehand. He's got a good serve. He does move well around the court, moves particularly well on clay, and will look to get forward. So you do tend to see good variety from him. And he's certainly been enjoying playing at home, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's looking to become the first Italian to win a title on home soil since Filippo Volandri, who is here as the Davis Cup captain for Italy, since him in 2006, Palermo. So it's been a while since an Italian has won on home soil. There's his passage through to the last 4 today. This is his first semi-final of 2021, having reached the quarters in Montpellier a few weeks ago. And we saw that one title in Antalya. Taylor Fritz, well, congratulations to him for being here as the USA number 1. He too is one of 10 players from the USA inside the top 100. So some nice symmetry there between the USA and Italy. He's currently at 30, just a few spots off his career best of 24. That was back in March last year. And this is his third career semi-final. He's never made a final on the red stuff. Lost his 2 previous outings in Lyon 2 years ago and Houston the year before that. But you've been impressed this week by Taylor Fritz.
Well, I have. I mean, it's never easy when you're making the change, the surface change, having been on the hard courts and then playing on the red clay, which isn't a surface that he grew up on. Obviously, they've got the green clay out in America, which does play slightly differently. But I think it's such a positive. He's been open about saying that, you know, he wants to learn how to play on this surface. I think, you know, I don't think it's going to become his best surface because of the nature of how he plays, but I think you can learn so much from playing on the clay, and you can get quite a lot of satisfaction. And I was impressed with his mentality yesterday, with how he showed good patience against Bedene and was able to get through that in straight sets.
Fourth meeting between these two players, the last of them just a few weeks ago in Doha. Taylor Fritz coming through there, but we need to mention that meeting there at the French Open last year. A terrific match, straight sets for Sonego, but the story, of course, was all about the third set tiebreak, the second longest in Grand Slam history, 1917 to Sonego eventually. It took half an hour alone. And, well, if we get into a tiebreak today, we'll be watching the clock.
It was an epic, wasn't it? And, I mean, it just went on and on. I mean, it was a great match between the two. We're expecting similar today.
There is Gino Arpino, Sorendo's coach. He's been with him since the age of 11. And again, a little bit like the other Lorenzo, Musetti, who sadly was beaten yesterday. Both of the players, both Lorenzos, have had one single coach right from the start of their careers. And certainly Musetti said he'd like to end his career with his coach. So welcome to semi-finals day here in a slightly overcast Cagliari today. After bright sunshine all week, we're hoping the cloud will blow away a little bit later, but we're also crossing our fingers for light winds or no wind at all. It's really been the talking point, or one of the talking points this week. So our first semi-final for a place in Sunday's final. Will Italy have some representation? Lorenzo Sonego, who won the toss and elected to receive, is closest to camera here. Taylor Fritz, looking to book his place in his first ever clay court final at tour level. Will get us underway.
Taylor Fritz to serve. Ready? Play. Rapidamente, por favor. Zero, 50 love.
What do you see as the key battle lines here between these two tactically?
Well, I mean, it's similar in the way that both look to be aggressive, going to be looking to serve well and dictate the majority of the points using the forehand side. You say it's going to go more comfortable with the movement and spent more time on the clay. I think Sonego as well will look to try and get forward a little more.
There's the forehand that Lucy was just mentioning.
Fast hand, hasn't he? So you can get some good work on the ball. Fritz is just going to have to be aware of. You can see how it moved off the court. And
can you take this one?
It's a going to try and be getting Fritz on the run. That's going to be the key goal for the Italian.
Just long from Fritz. Sonego, yes, much more comfortable on this surface. Has grown up playing on the clay. Fritz still only played 33 matches on clay in his entire career. Well, terrific start here by Sonego, setting out his stall nice and early.
It's going to be interesting as well. It seemed to be the end that Fritz had. That seemed to be the end that the players struggled with.
A little ambitious, going inside it down the line over the highest part of the net, but he'll be encouraged by an early break point opportunity.
Vantaggio Fritz.
Just didn't quite get the right contact point, find himself reaching on that forehand. Caused the error.
Well played. Picked up nicely, but rather straightforward for Sonego to put away the winner.
So going to be looking to play with probably a little more variety than Fritz. The understanding when to use the drop shot and the positioning after. Just crowded Fritz there. Wasn't a lot of space for him to put his shot into. Still just getting used to the movement, Fritz, when to slide into the ball.
Oh, terrific. Well, that's what Fritz is capable of doing on any surface. Huge, huge forehand. It's long again. Nearly 6 minutes for this opening game already, and we kind of expected that this may be a long battle.
I think so, given their last meeting on the clay, as we spoke about Roland Garros.
Yeah, that was a 36-point tiebreak, incidentally.
Vantaggio Sonego.
Well, all credit to the Italian here, Sonego, for hanging around, and he's carved out a second early break point here. Too good.
Parità, Gius.
Decent pace on the serve there from Fritz. Important for him to keep the percentages on the first serve reasonably high. Allows him to be able to control the point a little quicker, get a quicker point.
Once again, just dragging it wide, trying to go down the line, inside in. So a third game point for Fritz. He's having to work really hard here just for a service hold. Great depth, really good depth from Sonego, causing Fritz to have to just readjust his footwork.
It was right in the corner, wasn't it? And I don't think it took a clean bounce either. It just didn't quite give himself enough space. Ambitious shot from him.
Vantaggio Fritz.
There's the big Fritz serve that can get him out of trouble.
Through the line there.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a big difference, doesn't it, if he is able to use it. Necessarily going to get so many aces on the clay, but still it gives you the advantage in the point.
Finally, Fritz holds.
First game.
Took him over 8 minutes. Landing 60% of his first serves there, but just a warning shot across the bows there from Sonego in the opening game. This is not going to be comfortable for you.
Well, exactly. I think Fritz have, played Sonego a few times, and particularly be aware that the surface at the moment, this early in the season on the clay for Fritz, is probably going to favour Sonego. I think it's a good sign. He was able to just battle through, didn't panic, produce some decent serves when he needed to.
Served 16 times in that opening game. But the important thing is, he came through. Played. It's a good athlete, isn't he, as well? Sonego, plenty of energy.
Oh, he's fast around the court and just showing good hand skills there. The ball's pretty low. Knew exactly where he was going to go. Fritz had played a decent point. It was a good return through the middle of the court. Just didn't quite take enough off the volley.
Both players have found their rhythm already. Some good striking from both players. Just wonder whether Sonego will be feeling the effects. That was not just a physically bruising battle his match yesterday, but mentally as well, having to come from behind. Apologies for the interference in our pictures from Cagliari. That service hole from Fritz in the opening game, even though it took him 8 minutes, is looking more and more significant here because he's bounced straight back to carve out 2 break points on the Sonego serve.
A few errors, hasn't there, from the Italian there? He's trying to do a little too much on that last forehand, but Fritz is returning well. Depth of his returns. It's been effective so far in this game.
Trenta 40. 30-40.
Big forehand and a very tidy overhead match at breakpoint down, Sonego.
A couple of good solid points there from him.
Sonego.
That's long from Fritz. Well, both players under some pressure to hold serve, but both come through unscathed, fending off 2 breakpoint opportunities apiece. And both players will feel pretty good at having had a tough test and come through it.
Definitely. I think you're under a little bit of pressure and able to hold. Certainly, Sonego, you mentioned the long match he had yesterday. I mean, Hampton served for the match, didn't he, in the second set. In some ways, that should give him a whole heap of confidence. I think credit to him, the way that he kept fighting. Did a good job in the third set.
There's the drop shot that Sonego plays so effectively. An outright winner there.
Such an effective player. I mean, he was under pressure through the majority of the point there. Fritz really looking to get the ball into the backhand side. The change of direction forced the switch and allowed him to then use the drop shot.
He's pushed that one long too. So once again, Fritz under pressure here.
Oh, that was close. The shot was certainly on.
Oh, that was ugly, wasn't it? If a dirty strike is the opposite of a clean strike, then that was pretty dirty.
He's just a little static, wasn't he, with his feet there. Fritz caused him to hit the frame. I think it took Sonego by surprise, hence why he then missed the shot. He didn't think he'd have such a clean strike on it.
He was quick to acknowledge as well. Well, he's soaking it up nicely, isn't it? Sonego, some big weapons there from Fritz.
He's doing a good job. They change of direction as well. That's a smart play. Fritz then forced to have the dilemma of whether he goes back into the Sonego forehand or back up the line.
Oh, it was there, it was on. Would have been spectacular.
30-40.
He's certainly asking questions, isn't he? He's making Fritz have to play a lot of balls. See the American starting to push forward and try and finish the point from the net. So make it a little quicker. You've got to pick the right ball, though.
Well, that's a fourth breakpoint save by Fritz. 2 in each of his service games so far.
Struggled a couple times with the slice backhand. He's found the net. Certainly a good idea. Chance for him to mix the rhythm.
Oh, he's made this one. Impeccable footwork there from Sonego, just backing off, giving himself a little bit more room.
Does such a good job here, just able to shift himself, fast feet, get himself in position and use the forehand.
That's too good, hitting right through. Fritz can really hurt you when he's on song, and that was straight out of the sweet spot.
Showing good patience as well, isn't he, Fritz? Good margin on his shots. Picking the right one to release through. He's hanging on in here.
Inch perfect. Made that look very, very straightforward, and it was a tricky overhead.
Given his last one where he totally shanked it, didn't he? He does well here.
Nicely done. Well, he survives once again. And these opening 3 games have produced 7 break points in total. Not a single one has been converted. On serve, 2-1. Monte Carlo next week, the draw's out. And these 2 players will both be there. They've got pretty tough opening rounds. Fritz will meet Bautista Agut, not easy. And Sonego, Martin Fucsovics.
Not easy either. He's
not
been
easy either.
Having a good year, hasn't he? I mean, looking at the draws, I mean, most of them are pretty tough, aren't they? I guess that's to be expected. I think certainly that, you know, the fact that, well, for Fritz in particular, that he's been able to get some matches here. Obviously got the chance for this one, and if he does get through another one, that makes such a big difference. Just get the time on this surface, and he's starting to look more and more comfortable.
Well, he hasn't been able to take any of the break points that have come his way, but he should be encouraged, Sonego, that he's carving out the opportunities. 5 of them already in the first 2 service games of Taylor Fritz. So he's putting himself in the right position. Just needs to convert one of these chances when they come his way. Already 23 minutes on the clock. And just 3 games in.
Ditch 0, 15 love.
That's too good. Well, there's all you need to know about somebody who's been brought up on the clay. It's just instinctive. The drop shot to draw the opponent in, and then the lob executed to perfection.
It's tough, isn't it, on the clay? You can see there Fritz just sliding through, body weights moving forward, so it's then very difficult to make that shift to push up and try and hit the lob.
Well, he's on a roll here, Sonego. You can see why so many players who haven't been brought up on the clay, without saying it explicitly, don't make much effort on that surface because they know it's going to be tough. So all credit to Fritz for trying to make a fist of it. Well, a rare thing here in this opening set, a love hold, and it goes the way of the Italian. And that in itself will put a bit of pressure on the American. You know, Fritz with the best one in the world, what, 34th match on clay.
Of course, it's difficult, but I think it's so important. I mean, he of course will have played a fair amount on the red clay as a junior. It's a different story at ATP level, but again, I think you can learn so much from playing on it. But Federer talked about the fact that, you know, it helps him when he then goes onto the grass. The amount of balls that you hit, the more the shape that you have to hit with on the clay, and because the points are longer, and often you can be ahead in the point and then have to restart it. More easier to defend given the height of the bounce, so you can chase balls down. It teaches you a lot about structuring the point and use of the court, and different variety as well, as we see. I mean, certainly players look to be aggressive on this surface.
Oh, well played. Well, there's a great exchange there. Really good exchange. And Fritz, for once, had an answer to the question on the drop shot.
Well, he did. He does a good job here, and he just backpedals and gives himself a little more room so that if the lob does go up, he's got the ability to get up, but he's also then got the time to track down any angles there. And again, the more you get to play on it, the more you start to understand how just to adapt your tactics slightly. You see how well they manage to open up the court on this surface, the width that they create.
First glimpse of sunshine on semi-finals day. Does make a difference to the court, and so far the wind is staying away. Well, we saw a moment ago the graphic just confirming how much more serving Fritz has done so far than his opponent. Over twice the number of serves.
Didn't quite get himself balanced there. It was an opportunity.
He does like to chat, doesn't he? Sonego. Well, once again, exactly what we were talking about before, where at that end in particular, the difficult end, as we've technically named it this week, just again, the wind picking up and the footwork, you're made to look, you're exposed, aren't you? Just rooted to the spot.
I think the bounce as well, it's starting to frustrate Fritz.
And the volley's long. Good to see him smiling, though. It's just as if to say, remind me again why I said I wanted to learn how to play on this surface. Just one more time. A 6-break point of this opening set for Sonego. There it is. At the 6th attempt, he finally breaks through, and all credit to the Italian. He's got his reward there and has finally made the all-important breakthrough, leading here 3-2. Well, that's a reward, isn't it, for sheer persistence?
But it was. I mean, he's put so much pressure on Fritz, hasn't he, throughout this match on his service games. They're able to get himself up the court. The majority of this match so far has really been down to Fritz looking to try and control the point. And Sonego, who's comfortable in all positions, really, isn't he? He's happy to defend, but then he's got the ability to push forward as well. Sensed it was just a matter of time. You can see how Fritz comes back. I mean, he has had opportunities. That's the main thing he needs to keep in his mind. He's had some break points.
So a promising start here for the number 3 seed, and no apparent hangover from a long, tough match against Yannick Hanfmann yesterday, the German, who served for the match, you may remember, and Sonego needed to dig really deep to turn that one around. He's got his nose in front here. He's got the all-important break. And as Lucy was asking, how is Fritz going to respond now? Wind just picking up a little bit, but nowhere near as strong as we've had most of the week. Oh, eventually, but goodness me, how hard did Fritz have to work to win that point? Exceptional defense.
Wasn't it? I mean, he was moving Sonego from side to side. This was a great forehand there. It just gets around the outside of the ball and just see it just continuing to move away from Sonego. But there was good patience there from Fritz. He's playing with good margin.
Oh, wonderful. On the run. Coach Arpino liked it.
He's dangerous on the run, hasn't he? The fast hand that he's got. It was a good change-up with the slice backhand. He's already on his way. He's anticipating that Fritz is going to go inside in.
Just over pressing again, Fritz.
30-15.
You can understand why. He's trying to... Well, he'll be feeling that he's got to do a little more with the defence of Sonego. He's trying to just have that patience and not fear. I mean, it's tough to hit through the courts on clay. Continue to try and open it up when possible and create spaces that way.
Well, he did well to adjust there. Was on the verge of going for the drive volley and then changed his mind.
I think he thought it was going to go long, didn't he? And just had to start again. But he was able to, in return, pretty much hit the line.
is absolutely wondrous from Fritz.
Took a swing at that, didn't he? It makes such a difference when he's able to cut the sideline, get the ball to move through the tram lines. Creates that angle. It makes life difficult then for the server to be able to track it down. Great return.
Oh, he had to be careful. That could have gone anywhere. It landed just in. And Sonego backs up the break. Still having a little look at that.
He's not sure, is he?
That was a heavy net court, wasn't it?
It was in or out. I mean, Fritz, he should have really moved forward. There wasn't too many options that Sonego had on that shot by the time he got there.
And is that a small but important example of lack of experience on the clay, that it wasn't instinctive for him to move
Definitely.
in?
I think he's getting used to it, because you do have to have a slightly different mindset when you get back onto the clay, and it's been a while since Fritz has played on it.
Out. When ditch is 0. 13 love.
It's all about the matches. I think from all surfaces as well, when the players make that transition onto the grass, again, they have to make those adjustments. So the key goal is leading up to the Grand Slam. It's just the amount of matches they can get.
Didn't do enough with it. It was a difficult pickup. And it was in the air for too long. And Sonego gobbled it up.
He's fast, isn't he? And very comfortable just to slide into it. Soft hands, just to nudge it up the line into the space.
30-15. 30-15.
It was a rare miss hit there, maybe just getting an unfavourable bounce. Fritz really needs a comfortable, solid hold here. He had a go, didn't he? But even Sonego not able to return that. So Fritz does get the hold. Still trailing by that single break. Advantage Italy here in this absorbing opening set, 4-3. You mentioned Federer a little while ago. He's not playing in Monte Carlo, although that's not such a surprise. He hasn't tended to do well there in the past, and he's not a regular participant in Monte Carlo, I don't think.
He isn't. I mean, I think obviously, given the fact that coming back from the knee operation and where his focus is, I mean, he's made that clear in terms of it's on the grass. It'll be interesting to see what and where he plays, because he'll be needing to get some sort of match practice. Obviously playing in Doha and then decided to pull out of Dubai. I think probably the matches that he played in Doha just gave him a clearer understanding of where he's at
ahead
physically.
of schedule. He was delighted, wasn't he?
That's right.
He was absolutely delighted with how it went. So it's advantage Italy here in our first semi-final here in Cagliari. Lorenzo Sonego, the number 3 seed. A break up over Taylor Fritz, seeded 2. Both men looking to reach their first clay court final. Sonego has reached 2 finals in his career so far at 25 years old. Winning in Antalya on the grass, 2019, and then Vienna on the hard court indoors last year.
Mr. Rublev, didn't he? Beat Djokovic there.
Beat Djokovic, yeah,
win for him.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, that was one of Rublev's many titles last year when he was on that red-hot streak. So with new balls, and still with a break of serve. Fritz then looking to try and retrieve this break. He's running out of opportunities. He needs to strike either this or the next Sonego service game. Could this be his opportunity? He's on the march here, is Fritz.
Again, he felt that ball just shot off the court up at him, just cramped him up.
Three golden opportunities here then for Taylor Fritz to get back on level terms in this opening set.
Quite quickly as well, a few errors there from Sonego.
Well, there's one retrieved. We saw him respond really well from being down against Hanferman yesterday, didn't we? But with all respect to the German, Fritz is a different class. There it is. There is the break back from Fritz, who's back in this first set. And that was disappointing. All credit to Fritz for upping his level, but one or two sloppy loose shots there from Sonego.
I think as well, he thought he got a few dodgy bounces there. Contributed to the errors. It was good depth once more, though, from Fritz on return. Done a good job in that department.
Plays with great spirit, doesn't he, Sonego? And although there's not much of a crowd, he is playing to the gallery, such as there is a gallery. One of our Italian teammates courtside yesterday in particular.
Wait, please.
Opportunity opening up here for Sonego.
0-30, lost 13.
Topsy-turvy set unfolding here, you feel.
Wind starting to pick back up as well.
Oh, terrific adjustment again. The net court working in his favour. And Fritz now started to get frustrated, but what a response from the Italian.
He's calm, isn't he, there, as the ball jumps up off the net. He realises he can get round and use the off forehand.
Well, there we go. Sonego restores his advantage and breaks for the second time, and doesn't just break, but breaks to love. That was convincing. And is that the breakthrough that could take him through to the first set? 5-4.
Real frustration here from Fritz, understandably, having done such a good job to break back and to get broken to love. It's tough, again, to pick between the two. I mean, it's something that we do see a little more on the clay. Don't get as many quick points behind your serve, so often into a battle from the back of the court.
Well, he'll be delighted with what he's seeing. Gino Arpino, Sonego's coach. First real bit of emotion coming out from Fritz.
Time.
So a hard-fought, really competitive opening set here with 3 breaks of serve, and crucially, it's Lorenzo Sonego has restored his advantage here, and now can try and serve for this first set.
Quindici 0, 50 love. Quindici pari, 59.
Both getting frustrated, aren't they, with some of the bounces. I mean, it's not easy, is it? I mean, if it hits the line, it shoots off and stays low. If it hits, you know, build-up of clay, a clump of clay on the court, the same thing. It just takes the pace out of the ball. It doesn't bounce up.
Trenta 15, 30, 50.
was again a full length, and maybe not the best of bounces once again. Just a seed of doubt in Sonego's mind there. Well, it's extraordinary play from both players. What a ball from Sonego, but how well did Fritz do to readjust and keep the rally going?
Well, I thought it was going out. I think Fritz did as well. Had to start the point again. I mean, incredible defence there.
Well, that is world-class tennis from both players on a difficult surface. But it brings up set point Sonego. There it is. First blood goes to Sonego in this semi-final. An absorbing 50 minutes or so of tennis here in Cagliari. He got the break, back came Fritz, but he broke again and has come through by 6 games to 4.
Well, it certainly swung back and forth, didn't it, at that opening set there, and overall, Sonego, and we'll see from the numbers, just was able to serve a little better and see first serve percentage higher and points won behind that first serve. Obviously a key stat for him. He put Fritz under so much pressure from the start, the amount of break points that he was able to create 7 and converted 2. And the second one being the vital one. Fritz will be a little disappointed having broken back and then getting broken to love straight away, particularly in the latter stages of the set. So the improvement in the serving numbers for Fritz is going to be key, and that could shift the difference, because from the back of the court overall pretty similar. Sonego maybe been able to play with a little more court craft.
An impressive standard of tennis from both players, both able to raise their game when they needed to, but goodness me, the penultimate point in that set was extraordinary. Well, Fritz has dropped a set for the first time this week in Cagliari, so he's going to have to come from behind to reach his first clay court final. He has the knowledge that he's capable of breaking the Sonego serve, but just a feeling, as we mentioned in commentary, that Sonego's greater clay court pedigree which you can't really put your finger on in terms of describing, but when you've been brought up on that surface, the decision-making, as you were saying, quite rightly,
I think
Lucy.
it's the movement it's comfortable is the key thing for me. If you're comfortable moving, then you can play your own game, and of course what the clay does is, you know, it helps you construct points better, makes you a little more tactically aware, because you've pretty much got to work hard for every single point. You don't get much for free, as we've seen on serve. The players, isn't a lot of aces and too many quick points, are there, on the clay? The way that you can track the ball down, and the mentality that, you know, you might have to start the point again a few times within a single rally.
As we've seen. So the court is swept and watered. And we're good to go. Fritz, a set down. The comeback starts here.
As I say, the more the players play on it, and I think as we get into the clay court season, then they do make the adjustments. Top players become good on all surfaces, don't they?
Well, we've seen the weapons of Fritz, which would be too strong on any surface.
Thomas picked up again. Suddenly get a huge gust of wind.
Oh, it's inch perfect again. Just never know when it's going to come. And it's not just the execution, Lucy, it's the selection and knowing when to make the shot.
That's right, it's having that sense, isn't it? I mean, you've got the disguise as well, as he shapes up as if he's going to hit through, and the fact that he's not using it all the time. Fritz then not necessarily anticipating it, and it's tough to push off on the clay. You can lose your footing, so different to other surfaces where you can get a better grip.
Serve volley just to mix it up and give Sonego something to think about, and it paid off there.
That's a good play. I mean, see, most of the players sit back quite deep, don't they? So this tactic works really well, the serve and volley. Something Fritz has used, so it certainly took Sonego by surprise. One way of getting a quicker point, isn't it? Which sometimes can make a difference.
It's almost as if Fritz said, I'll take your drop shot, which was your surprise weapon, and I'll raise you, and I'll see you a serve volley.
Well, that's the thing, it's, you know, the whole time when you're up against an opponent, you're trying to get things on your terms, find ways to stop them being able to play their game.
Well, just as he was in the opening game of the match, taken to juice, and Sonego will be looking to carve out an early break point here. Oh, it's too hot. Simply too hot, even for Sonego. Such intensity, though, from Sonego.
Well, there is, isn't there? I mean, I would say with Fritz, it was good defence, and he kept close to the baseline, allowed him to hit through that backhand.
Not this time. Serve volley. Not working.
Wasn't good enough with the serve, was it, overall? And Sonego was able to create that angle.
Just drifting away. Umpire
Checked.
El Janati just coming down to confirm.
Ooh.
Ooh. It dropped in. An overrule from umpire El Janati, and this will not go down well with Fritz, I'm sure.
He's accepted it, hasn't really got a choice.
Yeah, he's had to accept it, but it's good to come down. Did Sonego ask him to come down, or was that...
I think it was a bit of both. I think the umpire knew it was close. So
replay the point. No doubt about that one. So, Sonego, justice is done here. He will feel an early break point in this second set. Oh, he's onto it. There's the roar. And there is the breakthrough. And just as he did in the opening set, he's asking questions of the Taylor Fritz serve. And he's on his way now, perhaps, to a place in the final.
It'll be interesting again how this set unfolds, because it certainly wasn't done and dusted when he got the first break. But it's near enough been every service game of Fritz where he's been under pressure. He's looking to try and mix things up, try and get forward a little more.
Well, that opening game of the first set was over 8 minutes, and that one was over 6.
And as well with Fritz, he's used to getting through his service games a little quicker. Obviously, on the faster surfaces, that happens more frequently. But even so, he certainly wouldn't be reckoning on having to work so hard for every service game, and that pressure does mount up.
Good return. Really onto it very, very quickly, Fritz, and took any time away from his opponent.
To get over the top of it and direct it straight down the middle of the court. Just effective play if you get the depth. The server has very little time to be able to react.
just as he did in the first set. He's responded well here, Fritz.
I think as well, having been able to break and create a fair few opportunities, Fritz will know that he can break again.
Certainly in terms of the atmosphere on court, Sonego's got quite a bit of support courtside, certainly more than Fritz. That was a chance, got himself settled into the rally, and he's letting Sonego back in here. Terrific defense into attack from Sonego, and the length was impeccable.
Well, that made the difference, didn't it? He was able to play with such good depth, and the ball off his strings does jump up. Didn't give Fritz too much time there. Couldn't get hold of that last forehand.
Brilliant response, love 30 down and up against it, Sonego, but able to dig deep and turn the game around. Backs up the break, and he's in control here.
This seems to be the case. Did a good job responding, having been down in that game. And he's just not giving too much away at the moment. The way that he's able to defend, and then the fact that he can turn that defence into attack.
Oh, not twice. Did really well with the first. On the stretch, took it on the full. That would have been special.
Wouldn't it? I hadn't expected him to actually look to play that as a volley. Looking at it, I think that was his only option. I think he might have had time there to let that ball bounce.
He's going through a difficult moment here, is Fritz, and Sonego knows it. This is a must hold game for Fritz, surely.
That'll certainly help. Been too many times where Sonego's not been able to get the return back into play. Pressure does mount up.
Put it long. Wow. This is Wonderland stuff here for Sonego in a semi-final against the #2 seed. A man in form. And he has a chance here.
The wind just picked up, didn't it? And I mean, it's tough to judge. I mean, there it looks as if it's going down the court.
It's away. And here's Sonego away and out of sight here in this semi-final. Leading now by a set and a double break. The Italian in firm control. How will the Americanists respond? Love 3.
I mean, you've got to feel for Fritz. He's not getting too much for free, is he? And having to work hard for every point. And the way that Sonego does defend, it puts that extra bit of pressure on, and you feel that you've maybe got to do a little more.
His all-round game is so impressive. We mentioned the forehand and how potent that is. His defence is absolutely outstanding. The drop shot, of course, which is his trademark signature shot. You stick all that together and that's what you get. You get a frustrated player in Taylor Fritz. Well, it's a really tough afternoon so far for Taylor Fritz. He's being outgunned here and outplayed and outthought in many ways by Sonego, the natural clay courter. And I guess, is it fair to say, just when you think from Fritz's point of view that you are starting to learn and starting to feel more comfortable, you then come up against a guy who makes you feel as though, well, actually, I've got so much more to learn.
Well, in some ways, I mean, I think, you know, for me, necessarily need to be a whole heap of panic from Fritz. He'll know that he's getting better on this surface and feeling more comfortable. I mean, if he isn't able to come back here, he still will have had 3 matches going into Monte Carlo. Still a fair few tournaments to be played leading up to Roland Garros.
Ooh. A collector's item. A Sonego drop shot that fails to make the mark. That's a good reply. Took it nice and early. Top of the rise.
It's definitely an area where Fritz has improved quality of return, the variety as well. Steps in nicely there. Could be an effective return if you have got the ability to back up or step in and take it early. Gives you that variety.
It's long. Now then, opportunity knocks here for Taylor Fritz. A double breakdown, but a chance here to halve the deficit. Sonego, of course, came from love 30 down in the last service game to hold. Job complete there from Fritz. He's back in this second set. He's got a foothold here, still trailing by the single break, but well, that was surprising from Sonego. Lack of focus?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, we saw the errors, didn't we, from him. I guess having worked hard to get himself in that position. I mean, credit to Fritz. I mean, we know that he is a competitor. He's certainly not going to fade away. Played the percentages in that game.
Really hitting through the ball there.
It's good work on the ball from Fritz. There's the danger if you look to move round here. You can see where Sonego is. He's right in the tram lines. Does leave a lot of court open. Again, it's tough. I mean, both overall have returned pretty well, haven't they? They've been pretty consistent with the amount of returns they put back into play, and you can see when they can get it quite close to the baseline, it's not easy for the server.
Super, really good disguise again, and shaping to hit through the ball, and then at the last minute the change and the adjustment, and Fritz just couldn't read it.
I think it's that you read it late and you can see the back foot just slipping behind him, so you're not getting that foothold to really be able to use the ground to drive up and into the court, and that's the big difference compared to other surfaces. It can be so frustrating as well. I mean, again, you just start being a little more aware. It's a good response, though.
Add to that, he's a tall man, 6'4", so he's got those long legs to try and get going.
Again, it's golden, really. Not had a lot of quick points at all behind his serve, Fritz. Get 2 aces in a row.
Such has been the nature of this match, with multiple breaks of serve, particularly on the Fritz serve, that it's not a given that, having broken back to save one of the breaks, that he's going to hold here. Still more pressure. We thought about it. Fritz hanging on here.
That ball hung on the net, didn't it? sure what it was going to do.
Wiped its feet, didn't it, before deciding not to go through the door. That's well played. It's a good response from Fritz. Successive games from the American. He was trailing love 3 in this second set. He's now at 2-3.
Excellent response. He's digging in here. He's certainly not gone away.
Do you think he feels any extra pressure at all from the status of being US #1 now? It's quite a privileged position to be in.
I mean, it's big, isn't it? I mean, I guess maybe the fact that if this event was in the States, there maybe might be a bit more spotlight on it. And again, coming into this tournament, the key goal would be to get as many matches as possible to start to get more comfortable on the clay. So that's maybe been a good distraction for him.
US really well stocked. If you look at the top 10 players, Fritz, Opelka, Tommy Paul, Francis Tiafoe, all 23 years old. Just talking the break about the US rankings. 10 players inside the top 100, with Fritz here leading the way now, having moved ahead of John Isner. And you look at those top 10 US players, Lucy, and you've only got a couple of 30-somethings. Sam Querrey at 33 years old and John Isner at 35. The rest, Steve Johnson, 31. The rest are still in their early 20s.
It's great for them, isn't it? I think it makes such a big difference if you've got a few players coming through and they all get on well, so it's healthy competition for them, and it just helps carry the load as well.
Sonego here just needs another one of those comfortable holes just to steady the ship, having led 3-love.
Next for service.
Not his best drop shot.
10 pari, 59.
I guess important now to look to play it at the right time, and Fritz starting to become a little more ready for it.
Ooh. Sonego thought it was good.
The umpire felt that it was long as well.
The finger confirms it was long. So, did look good from our... It looked as though it was probably taken some of the line from our commentary position, but it was long. And Fritz here going about his business, trying to retrieve this second break.
10, 40, 15-40.
Well, Sonego will feel that the tennis gods are against him at the moment. Just a couple of calls that have gone just the Americans' way, and having led 3-love, double breakup, flying towards the final. Now facing two more. Oh dear.
Fritz, pari 9, por favor, in your ball split.
Well, well, well. How cruel this game can be, but all credit to Fritz for hanging on in there, still believing that he could be competitive in this second set. And he's right back in it here. A double breakdown, now level at 3-all.
How quickly things can change. I think as well on this surface, that's what we can tend to see. And it isn't a sure thing if you do break serve that the set's over, as sometimes it can be the case on the quicker surfaces. I guess we can't forget as well, Sonego, I mean, it would be huge for him, wouldn't it? And maybe just started to think about the finishing line. Credit to Fritz, though. I mean, he's kept in this.
But for all the disappointment of squandering that 3-love lead, he will know that he's had great success on the Fritz serve. And another break here may just be enough.
Next for service.
Big serve right into the corner there. Certainly starting to serve a little more effectively, Fritz.
Yeah, still only at 50% first serve conversion, but he's finding the big serve on the big point generally.
30-15, 30-15.
8 aces against Bedene in the previous match.
Quaranta, 15, 40-15.
Well, it's quite a response, isn't it? Very, very impressive indeed from Taylor Fritz, the number 2 seed. Trailing love 3 and a double breakdown. He's reeled off 4 games on the bounce and now leads 4-3. How does Sonego? Do you see Sonego still able to respond here?
It'll be interesting. I mean, the first thing that he's got to do is try and get out of his mind the fact that he was a set and 3-love up, and now it's still back on serve. But it's difficult to get that out of your mind. I mean, you're in that sort of position. And suddenly Fritz, 4 games in a row. That's where I mean, it's so interesting, isn't it? How the momentum shifts that we have in this sport. Certainly wouldn't have predicted for this to be the scoreline.
That's what makes it so watchable. It is so unpredictable. Second semi-final, a reminder, is Laszlo Djere against the number 4 seed, Nicholas Basilashvili. That'll be a few minutes after the conclusion of this match.
Time.
So now the pressure very firmly on the Italian Lorenzo Sonego to try and just stop the rot here. It's long, and good to see that Sonego hasn't been put off playing the drop shot. The last one, or the last couple have not been particularly effective, but that did the job.
I mean, that was tough for Fritz, wasn't it? Because it's the right thing to do, just nudging it up the line. Just couldn't quite get enough cut on the ball to keep it in.
That's glorious, utterly glorious from Sonego.
We kept on him, didn't he, Sonego there, because we're starting to see some good defence from Fritz. He's playing with good margin. Just there, the ball too far away. He's able to get a lot of racket head speed, kept it close to the line, and of course it's moving away from Fritz there. A full stretch, couldn't control it.
Yeah, pick your spot, set up nicely. The forehand doing all the damage there from Fritz.
We can see Sonego looking to try and take his opportunities and change a direction up the line. Fritz read it well, was able to get himself back in control of the point. Certainly starting to see some good exchanges, aren't we, from both players?
Quality is certainly the highest it's been in the match so far.
Next second serve.
Certainly looking to take the return, the second serve return early, isn't he? A lot of the time, that does add pressure.
It's just too good. Well, that forehand has been absolutely eye-catching today.
40-15, 40-15.
Again, it's such a key moment. Kept calm there. There wasn't maybe quite enough on the return from Fritz. So it's another big forehand. See the racket head speed he's able to produce. Quick hand.
Super hold there. Sonego is back in this second set.
4 giochi pari, 4 games off.
Oh, he needed that, didn't he, after losing the previous 4 games, psychologically as much as anything else.
Well, definitely. I mean, you could have understood if he was still thinking about the fact that he had that lead, but he seems to have put it to one side. There was a positive game from him He's certainly looking to be aggressive. He'll be aware that Fritz is defending particularly well. Continuing to serve well, Fritz. Getting some shorter replies. Definitely finding some quicker points on serve. Last few service games.
Pari. Vercinol.
Well, for all his response, Fritz is still vulnerable here. Sonego looking to break again.
Good commitment, and again the serve able to give him a shorter reply. Just the previous point where he did miss it, it's that dilemma, isn't it? What you look to take on. There was good margin there on this forehand. Good topspin to keep it in the court.
Great aggression there from the baseline from Sonego, who's moving in here. He fancies this may be another chance.
And the spin that he's able to create on his shots, it's not easy to deal with because it does move so quickly up off the court.
Ah, brilliant. Excellent from Sonego. What a response.
30-40, 30-40.
It's a good move forward, but Sonego able to move across and get some work on that backhand.
10th break point. Wow, that's excellent from Fritz.
He's not backing off, is he?
No, not at all. No, backing himself and finding the big serve when he needed it. But that was Sonego's 10th break point of the match on the Fritz serve.
It was from the start, wasn't it? He has put so much pressure on the Fritz service games.
You can feel the tension. So much at stake here.
Get up the back of it enough.
Still work to do here for Fritz. It's kind of feeling like the opening game in the match again, isn't it?
I mean, a real battle there. I mean, it's positive to see the way that Fritz is looking to play. Trying to be aggressive. Again, a big serve helping him out there. He's got better as the match has gone on.
Hey. Taylor Fritz
gets out of jail again. All credit to Fritz for coming through that latest examination, but he's made to work so hard for every hold of serve. Moves ahead 5-4, second set.
He's fighting hard, isn't he? That's something, one of his key strengths, competitiveness. Won't ever give up, Fritz, and it certainly seems to be the case here. And forget, I'm in a set and 3-love down, and he's not gone away. He has had to work so hard for pretty much every single service game, but I think the fact that he's still finding a way through should build a lot of confidence.
Sonego still believing, though. 10 break points carved out. 6 of them saved by Fritz, and that's the key thing. I'm sure his parents will be looking on. Fritz's, both coaches. His mum was a top 10 player on the women's tour. Tennis steeped in the family. Whereas Sonego was a relatively, I say relatively, only took up the game at, or the sport at 11, which by modern standards is actually a late starter. If you haven't had a racket in your hand by the time you turn 1 year old, you're... Sonego then. Serving here to stay in this second set, having led 3-love and a double break.
That's a decent opening point, isn't it, from Sonego there?
Well, it had the look of, I'm resetting here. I've completely got over that disappointment, and I'm going again. Fresh page.
Taylor.
Effective serve there, slightly shorter. Slice out wide creates that angle.
It's his first ace of the match. Very timely. Well, that's a lovely, clean love hold from Sonego. Great response.
5 giochi pari, 5 games all.
It was aggression from the opening point, wasn't it? He served particularly well in that game, certainly when he needed to. I mean, some of the shortest points we've seen all match. given the scoreline and what's happened in this set, that was impressive from Sonego.
Frustration, not by much, and not disputing it. Good aggression though from Sonego. He's going after this break of serve again that could take him to the verge of a place in the final.
It's tough, isn't it?
It's tough.
Net for service.
Oh, slightly late call, fractionally worth a little examination, I think, here, certainly from Sonego. Fritz looks pretty comfortable. So which mark is it, Mohammed? We didn't see a hand signal there from Mohammed
Did we?
Janetti.
I mean, I'm assuming that the call stands.
Oh, that was close. Yeah, call is confirmed.
40-0 love.
So possible tiebreak is looming into view on the horizon.
Go Fritz.
Back to back.
Fritz Conducci.
Comfortable service holds from both players.
Games to 5.
And we are going perhaps the distance here. Taylor Fritz guaranteed at least a breaker, leading 6-5.
That is amazing. A couple of quick service games. There haven't been many in this match at all. Both players getting a little more reward behind their first serve.
So the business end of this second set, the next few minutes could be crucial in determining which of these two players will go through to Sunday's final. Laszlo Djere or Nicolas Basilashvili, the number 4 seed, will await the winner. It's been a fascinating second set here, which has had multiple twists and turns. Sonego leading by a set and a double break, remember, before Fritz came charging back, and now it just seems to have settled. The seesaw is around the middle. Sonego serving here to take us into a tie-break.
invece Lafferty.
Psychologically, that's so frustrating for the server. There is Laszlo Geret on the left of picture.
Got no real clue when he's going to be on, is he?
Oh, it's super once again, just giving himself that extra little bit of space.
15 pari, 59.
I'm choosing to go back behind Fritz as well.
Yeah, it's not quite the oil tanker, is it? But it's hard for a big, tall player to change direction quickly. Dragged wide.
30-15, 30-15.
He went after this one, Fritz. Quite enough spin on that to keep it in the court. Looking to be aggressive though.
Inch perfect, lovely soft hands, and great decision making.
40-15, 40-15.
The combination of it all, I mean, it's very difficult to read. Just the last moment there slips the grip around. Fritz would be aware of Sonego's got options there.
Apology from Fritz. Slight miss hit. Just a little bit more work to do here. One more point required to have a fresh restart. That's the catching the line.
Off the line.
It's long.
Parità juice.
Well, well, well. Fritz closing in here on the second set. He doesn't want the tie break. The go-to shot, and if you know and trust it, then it can be a wonderful friend.
It was a good serve, wasn't it? And again, where he got Fritz behind the baseline. Couldn't really get off to a fast start to be able to dig it out. Certainly not effectively.
Not this one. Third time unlucky from Sonego's perspective.
That's the danger, isn't it? And, I mean, it's easy to say, obviously, when they get it right. It's a great shot, but you can see not much depth, but also the fact that Fritz was off the mark much quicker. He anticipated that it might happen.
He was certainly alert to it. Oh, it's into the net. Great defense from Fritz. Backs against the wall stuff there. And his reward is a set point.
He's showing such good patience, isn't he? And forcing Sonego to have to make something happen, putting balls back into play. It's a big effort from him.
Could Sonego have done better with the drive volley, I wonder?
It was down the centre of the court, wasn't it? Gave Fritz another play on the ball.
So just shy of 2 hours on the match clock. Set point Fritz. He's there. Fritz is back in business here in Cagliari. What a turnaround from the American. Down and out it seemed in this second set, trailing love 3 by a double break. He's turned it round and has taken it by 7 games to 5.
That's a big effort, isn't it, from Fritz? Credit to him, the way that he hung around. He's certainly been rewarded. Starting to look more and more comfortable out here. Let's look at some of the numbers, and he's doing a much better job, Fritz, in terms of points won behind the first serve and the second serve. If you compare that to Sonego, there were a lot of break points again, as we saw in the opening set, and Fritz a little more successful there, 3 from 3. The fact that he didn't let his head drop at all, set and 3 love down, able to turn it around, feel that that's going to give him a bit of an advantage in this third and final set. Work to be done for Sonego. I think, as expected, Sonego's just left the court to regroup, but what an effort from Taylor Fritz.
Well, he almost did it in 2 stages, didn't he? There was the initial 4 games on the spin from love 3 down. Then Sonego seemed to regroup and settle and look for all the world as though we were going to go to the tie-break. And then he just moved away again. Got that vital break right at the end, and then this is a test, isn't it, now from here from Sonego, but he did it yesterday.
I mean, that's right. I mean, the first set was tight as well. Fritz would have been disappointed having got the break back to then get broken straight away again in that opening set. I think the fact that there's been so many break points and breaks that both players are pretty confident when returning. They feel that they've got a decent shout of breaking. It's tough tennis from the American.
And regardless of the result, he gets to play another set in preparation for Monte Carlo next week. Roberto Bautista Agut awaits in the first round. Doesn't get any easier, does it?
Doesn't at all.
Just clay court specialists all over the place. Rafael Nadal, of course, is in the draw, but not at the top or the bottom as we're used to seeing. You have to look somewhere in the middle.
I know, the fact Medvedev taking the #2 spot. Amazing, really, how long that these top 4 guys have dominated Good effort for Medvedev to be able to put himself in that position.
Yes, first, I'm sure as many people watching will know, first player outside of that group of 4 to occupy the number 2 slot since Leighton Hewitt, 2005. That's how close a club it's been over the years. And that group of 4, of course, has latterly been more a group of 3, hasn't it? With Andy Murray off the tour for such a long period. So Laszlo Djere, who we saw courtside, is probably gone back and thinks, right, well, I've got at least another 40 minutes.
Well, exactly. He's going to just need to switch off again, possibly take on some more fuel. It's the trouble, isn't it? You don't know which way it's going to go. He's probably done a couple of warm-ups. And it's going to be so interesting now to see how Sonego responds out here. Whether he can put the disappointment to one side, reset, start again.
Time.
Well, had he been able to take it to the breaker, he was, I'm sure, well aware of the fact that when they met at the French Open last year, that wonderful match that we were talking about at the top, there were not just the long tie break in the 3rd set, there was also one in the 1st set, and he won both of them. So he would have fancied his chances in the breaker on the clay, but it wasn't to be.
I guess for Fritz as well, even more reason for him to push hard, try and close it out and not go to the tie break.
Yep. So it's the deciding set for a place in the final here in Cagliari.
15-0, 15 love. Pari, 15 up.
Well, he served first in all 3 sets and has struggled to hold. Was broken in the 2nd set, took 8 minutes to hold in the 1st.
15-30, 15-30. Yeah.
So far, Sonego suggests that he's come back fighting here. He's had a good talking to himself, maybe a little chat in the mirror, in the bathroom.
Vindice 40, 15-40.
Well, history repeating itself here. 2 early chances for the Italian.
Trenta, 40, 13-40. Oops.
Well played. Great anticipation. And once again, Fritz just suggesting that he's starting to read this drop shot.
Well, he was off with a good step once more there. He didn't slip on the back of the court, and as well he was maybe anticipating that the lob was going to go out. Starting to get a bit more of an understanding. I'm not sure. There's a couple of times he's spoken to the umpire. Not sure what the issue is.
Oh dear.
Taylor Sonego.
He'll want that back, having done so well on the previous point. Saving 2 break points, he's now having to face down a third. It's too good. That one was too good, and that was worthy of an early breakthrough. Sonego roars again.
Partita finale, first game.
Wonderful start to this deciding set.
Well, it was a good game from him. And credit to him again.
He will take it. He'll take the loss.
Bounced back well, hasn't he? I mean, I'm thinking it's probably not going to be the last break of serve, given what's happened in the match. But the drop shot, I mean, on the whole, it's been effective, hasn't it? And then, after being watered, the court's a little heavier, not bouncing up particularly high.
Yeah, it's the 9th break of serve in the match. 5 of them for Sonego.
Quindici 0, 50 love.
He defended particularly well there, Fritz, with the lob, pushed Sonego back. Sure that backhand up the line was on. Found himself a little off balance.
Ball. Wait, please. Stop. 15 pari, 15 off.
A couple of impressive volleys at the net. Not often we see Fritz in that position, but he's put away the last couple competently enough.
It's definitely an area of his game that he's been working hard on over the last few years, that transition forward and his net play.
No, you could tell immediately. There's not enough height on that particular ball, and Fritz's camp there just urging on the American. Brilliant. He's onto it, and he's getting good return now from the drop shot is Fritz. It's taken him the best part of 2 sets to get his iron.
We're starting to pick it up slightly earlier, which is then giving him the advantage of more time to be able to chase it down. I've seen a few times where that back foot has just lost his footing and he's slipped, and they're able to push out of the ground, and very good control once he got there. Do you feel Sonego is maybe going to it at times a little too quickly?
Oh, that's big. One of the 2 break points saved by Sonego. But he's been a break-up in each of the sets. All 3 sets he's gone a break-up, Sonego. Digging deep here, the Italian number 3 seed. Well, this is impressive.
Landing a good serve there. And he felt that he was starting to show some frustration, Sonego. So he's done well to put himself back in a good position here on serve.
Wow, that is huge. Sonego digging really deep there to keep the break of serve intact, and it is intact.
He did so well, didn't he? Fritz there, seemingly in full control in that game. The wind again just frustrating Taylor Fritz. I think also the fact that he had those opportunities and wasn't able to take them.
wonderful.
0.10 love 15.
Such an effective shot.
Another purple patch, it seems, for Sonego here.
Good work on the forehand and just taking time away from Fritz, I think, as well with the blustery conditions. It's not helping, particularly at that far end. Not as much luck for Fritz in terms of quality of the first serve.
Well, we've been here before, haven't we? In the second set. Fritz struggling on his second service game, having been broken in the first.
Ball just too far away from him there.
15-40, 15-40.
Certainly hasn't been a predictable match, has it?
Very difficult to call. There's the double break. But we've been here before, ladies and gentlemen, haven't we, in the second set. And for the second successive set, Sonego opens up a 3-love lead. Final set.
Used his forehand particularly well on the inside-out one there. Sonego was able to get some work on it. And you see here, I think the let cord just actually helping him out. He's looked to get into that corner well. Free hitting from him. And amazingly, he's got himself in the same position.
Which begs the million-dollar question. What does he do differently in the final set that he didn't do in the second?
Oh, it's interesting, wasn't it? I mean, you've got to give credit to Fritz in terms of the fact that mentally he dug in, he didn't go away. So I think that was one thing. I think as well, Fritz looked to be a little more consistent. He defended particularly well. Got the break back quite quickly.
So we are in familiar territory here, folks, in this final set with Lorenzo Sonego, the number 3 seed from Italy, leading, as he was in the second set, by a double break 3-love. Surely he won't squander this lead for a second time. Can Taylor Fritz come back once again? This is a key game. This is the game, if he can get it to 4.
Well, you'd think, wouldn't you? And I mean, he started to misfire a little. We saw some errors, but that was linked with the fact that he wasn't getting much from Fritz with his defence and consistency. I think he's got to continue to look to try and go for it out here, Sonego.
15-0.
And that'll certainly help. It's been patches where he has served well. It's been a similar story for both players where they've been able to create some quick points.
Good thinking into the body.
That was a smart serve, wasn't it? Because Fritz has mixed his return position well. And got the ability to step in and take that backhand right at the top of the bounce. And will be an effective play if you get it just to swing into his body. Stops him being able to do that.
That's a good return from Fritz.
30-15.
That was this stage of the second set when he started his comeback, reeling off those 4 games, one after the other. There's a chance, just pushing it long. That's a shank that he would not want it to have made at that stage. Such an important point at 30 all. And it gives Fritz yet another break-back point. Big serve, taking every second allowed. And maybe a few more.
Well, I think so, and a smart one again. He went for the body serve. Jammed up Fritz there. Again, taking his time.
It's getting Fritz moving again. It's that forehand.
Vantaggio Sonego.
Forcing Fritz to move to his right as we look at Fritz from here.
Just jumps up off the court. It's not easy to control the way that Sonego releases it. He's done well here. Consciously just taking his time, isn't he, before each serve.
Well, he gets the job done this time. This time he does move ahead, 4-love.
4 games to love.
And as Lucy was hinting there, it's a very mature hold of serve, taking his time, collecting his thoughts. And he moves to 2 games from a place in the final.
Vindici 0, 15 love.
He dealt with that well, didn't he, Fritz?
Well, it could have been awkward, and given the position he was in the court. Smart serving that previous game from Sonego. Locked in using the body serve.
It's long. So is that one.
15-30.
Well, Sonego, if he wanted the luxury of a third break of serve, surely it would be all over for Fritz from there. Brilliant. Well, Sonego on fire here and closing in on victory.
He's just able to get that ball to dip, isn't he? Down at the feet of Fritz, who's looking to get forward. I've seen him use that tactic a few times. Serve and volley.
Well, Sonego is on a roll here, on the charge, heading towards the final. It's a third break of serve. It's one-way traffic in this final set, and it's going the way of Lorenzo Sonego. 5-love.
A couple of big games, weren't there, from Sonego, who's under pressure on serve, and he certainly would have been thinking about that second set. He did a good job just taking his time and changed his tactics with the serves, using the body serve. Obviously just changed the rhythm of what happened in the second set and allowed him to be a little more freer on that last return game. He's kept his head well, because it's not easy to put yourself in the same position, and having not gone his way in the second set, it would have been tough to not be thinking about it. I feel now, I mean, Fritz such a fighter. It's a pretty big mountain for him to climb right here.
So we're racing through this final set, and Sonego in complete control. Just now needs to serve it out. So easy to say, rather more difficult to do. But he's got himself a cushion there of 3 breaks.
Time.
I mean, you never know with,
you never
with what's gone on in this match, the amount of twists that we've had. But I mean, that service game at 3-love was a massive game for him, and he did well.
Sonego then just 4 points away from a place in his first clay court final.
Zero 15, love 15.
Well, he needs the same laser-like focus, doesn't he, that he showed in that fourth game.
Chats away, doesn't he?
first service.
He's put that one wide as well. Well, the old cliche of the last game often being the most difficult. Fritz will smell blood here. Oh dear. Technique all wrong there. Maybe again the wind playing a part, but
I think the tension as well. Certainly going to be a factor.
Well, it's a big comeback, but it may be starting here for Fritz.
Gioco Fritz.
Well, stage one accomplished.
Sonego con 5 giochi.
The bagel is averted. Fritz is on the board. And in some ways, it may be easier for Sonego to try and win this on the Fritz serve.
He was a little tight, wasn't he? Understandably. I mean, this is huge for him. Keep himself moving, Sonego. Keep the energy here. Certainly be pleased that Fritz misfired on that forehand.
He's put that long as well. Sonego closing in here on a memorable victory.
Yeah, I'm sure. Net for service.
And that is well long, and surely now Sonego is home. Shade over 2.5 hours on the clock. 3 match points.
Quindici, 40. 15, forse.
He's having to wait even longer. There it is. Now the release can come. He can celebrate. And Lorenzo Sonego, this affable young man from Turin, has made it through to the final. An extraordinary match, 12 breaks of serve. Sonego led by a set and 3-love double break. Back came Fritz impressively to take the second set, but Sonego somehow regrouped broke 3 times in that deciding set and has come through eventually 6-4, 5-7, 6-1. And he's into his first ever clay court final and his first on home soil.
I mean, what an effort from him there. I mean, you saw his response at the end of the match, and understandably so. I mean, a set and 3 love, he did so well to regroup. You see there, decent serving numbers in terms of points won behind the first server. It was a little up and down for Fritz, and overall didn't get as many free points off serve. I mean, there was so many breaks, weren't there? 12 breaks of serve, both putting each under a whole heap of pressure when they were serving. I mean, credit to Fritz to be able to battle back from a set and 3 love down. Sonego doing such a good job of just putting that set aside and starting fresh and being able to come through. 6-1 in the third. I mean, what a battle it was.
So our order of play coming up shortly. Here's the draw. And Sonego books his place in the final. A wonderful achievement and looking to become the first Italian to win a title on home soil since 2006. Filippo Volandri, it was all those years ago. Sonego through then. Will it be Laszlo Djere or Nicolas Basilashvili, the number 4 seed, who he will meet in the final? They will be out on court very shortly indeed. So there's the lineup for the rest of the day. 2 hours 38 minutes it took for Sonego to book his place in the final. Laszlo Djere, who was a winner in Sardinia in October, just down the road at the Fort Village Club, will do battle against the number 4 seed, the enigmatic but hugely talented Nicolas Basilashvili. They'll be on court in a few minutes' time. Join us again for that.